So in today's blog, what I'd like to go into is something that's very important, and as I'm sure you're all aware of, we do not just live in one plane of existence. We actually live in 4 planes of existence. One is the mental, one is the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. Now, we can categorize these into the invisible and the visible. And the most obvious answer to what the visible is the physical plane of existence. This is also called the outer world, because it's the world that we inhabit, and we can taste, we can sense it with our senses. However, the invisible world generally gets left behind because it is invisible in that sense. So we tend to either overlook it or not gain the understanding how much of an impact it has on our outer world, or the visible physical plane. Now, to change the outer world, what I suggest is to get an understanding that to change the outer world, the inner world must change as well, or it has to change for it to see a result in the outer world. Why is that the case? From my understanding, the physical plane of existence is essentially a printout of the other 3 planes of existence, which is the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. So whatever happens on the physical plane, it is just a simple printout of what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your emotions, and what's going on in the high spiritual sense, what kind of spiritual connection that you have. So, having said that, it reinforces the fact that we can get an understanding that money, health, wealth, illness, well-being, your weight are all results. So we live in a world of cause and effect. So, to change the effects, we simply need to change the cause rather than focus on the effects. So, what do we generally tend to do when something happens on the physical plane of existence? We focus on the effects. Something goes wrong, the car breaks down, the house burns down, we lose our job, whatever. We tend to focus on the effect. But if we trace it back to the cause, which is the invisible, the 3 invisible planes, the mental, emotional, and spiritual, we can then cause a different effect to happen. Some of the tools that I utilize in my own life are declarations. Now, declarations are very powerful in the sense they're slightly different from affirmations, and I'll go into that subtle but important difference. A declaration carries with it a certain vibrational frequency. So when you say something out aloud, it vibrates through the cells of your body. Also, placing your hand on your heart or on your body, you can feel this resonance. It also sends a powerful message to the universe as well as your subconscious. So this is very important defining factors. So why is a declaration more powerful than an affirmation? A declaration is essentially, it has more power because you put out an intention to take a certain course of action, to do something in a positive sense, whereas an affirmation is essentially saying something positive is already happening. Your mind generally tends to negate this because you might say, I have $1 million, or I have a brand new car. But your mind knows this is total BS, so it'll say, no you don't. Whereas declaration, you might say, I intend to act in a certain way, or I have, all the physical energy in my that I can fathom, or I choose to be positive moving forward in my life. Your mind can't negate this, because it's a choice to go down a certain path, to do a certain action. So it can accept this, so it's much easier to implement in that sense, and it carries with it a lot of power from that perspective, both from a subconscious perspective and saying something to the universe. So I hope you make use of declarations, and I hope you gained an understanding of the fact that we live in 4 planes of existence: the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical, and that the physical plane of existence is essentially just a printout of the mental, emotional, and spiritual. The mental, emotional, and spiritual are the invisible, the inner world, and the physical plane of existence is the visible, or the outer world. And for you to gain a result or an effect that you want in your life, you essentially need to work on the 3 invisible planes of existence, rather than focusing on the effect, because you have no power over it. Or you can struggle to make a change in the effect, and it's just going to create more suffering and pain and struggle. So please take away from this something positive.